Good evening, everybody, and welcome. Today, you ready, miss? You ready? All right. Good evening, everybody. Today is Tuesday, October 8th, 2024. The time is now 6:02 p.m., and the City of Williston City Council has come to order. Ms. Wright, will you please call the roll?
Mayor Goodman. Council President Cox.
Here.
Vice President Hines.
Here.
Councilmember Jones.
Here.
Councilmember Martin.
Here.
Councilmember Riccio. City Manager Terry Bavard.
Here.
Attorney Kirsten Ballou.
Here.
City Clerk Latricia Wright. I am here. And all other staff. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, everybody. I know we got things to do at our homes, so thank you for your time here so we can do this. All right. Opening prayer and pledge of allegiance to the flag. Mr. Mayor Charles Goodman.
Thank you, Mr. President. Join me if you so choose. Lord, we come to you today asking your mercy on our state, our cities, our counties, and our people. Lord, we just put it all in your hands. We will do everything that we can, but we know in the end, you make the decisions. And we thank you for your care of us. In your name, amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Thank you, sir. All right. Item 1, addition, deletions, changes, and approval of the agenda.
Mr. President,
Yes, ma'am.
on item 7, item 7A, Ms. Helen Painter with Purvis Gray asked to table that until the next meeting due to the weather. She
Okay.
won't be able to make it.
All right.
Mr. President, additionally, item 7B, we need some more information. We have a couple of more things that we need to do before we're ready to bring that in front of you. So we'd like to table that item as well.
C as in cat.
B as
B
in
as in
boy.
boy. Okay. Same be still. All right. Any other? All right. So addition, deletion, changes, approval of the agenda. Can I get a motion?
I move approval of the agenda with the changes to remove items 7A and 7B.
All right. I have. All right. Got a first. Got a second. Any other discussion, changes? No. Seeing none. All right. All right. Seeing none. Move to vote. All in favor of the changes, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, 5-0. Item 2, the Mayor Student of the Month. It's one of our favorite things to do. Mr. Mayor?
On one hand, they say I have a loud mouth. On the other hand, they keep me on a short leash. Timothy Taylor, you're not here either, are you? Okay, guess who is my star? You. And you look like a star, too. You know, when I was reading this, your teacher could not stop saying good things about you. I thought I was reading a book. So let's just see some of the things that she said about you. Juana is an incredibly sweet and helpful student. That's a pretty good start, ain't it? Not only does she always show excitement for learning and set a great example for her peers, Juana, do you actually show excitement for learning? And I hate change. Okay. But she also has taken on another role in the classroom. Mrs. List's class just welcomed a new Spanish-speaking student to their class. It is his first year in the United States, and he does not speak English very much. He's a lot like me. There it is. Juana has been such a great help. Not only has Juana helped to make sure that her new friend makes it to where he needs to go every day when switching classes and making transitions, but she also took the liberty on herself to translate for Mrs. List when she is teaching or giving directions to our new student. Juana, I just have one little question. Can you teach me Spanish? Okay. Let's see. Juana has been, I'm going to get back to this because this is really important. Juana has been such a great help. Not only has Juana helped to make sure her new friend makes it to where he needs to go every day when switching classes and making transitions, she also took the liberty on herself to translate for Mrs. List when she's teaching and giving directions to our new student. Juana is such a great little teacher. You're an amazing young lady, you know that? I'm going to cry. You're an amazing young lady. Juana is such a great little teacher. She has been incredibly helpful with this new student. Not only has she been his official tutor, but she has also become an example. She sets for being a kind and helpful classmate. Juana is always a bright, shining light in the classroom, and her teachers are so blessed to have her in their class. Thank you for being so amazing, Juana. We love you. Juana, it is my honor to give you this certificate, and if you'll show it to all the nice people out there, for Outstanding Student of the Month. Keep it down. They want to see your beautiful face. Okay. Now, that's a lot. To get that, that's a lot. But Shogun's Japanese restaurant, and please don't learn Japanese while you're there, heard about it, and they would like to congratulate you for your outstanding achievements with this certificate, good for one kid's meal and an ice cream from Shogun's Japanese restaurant. And here's that certificate. And Juana, as the mayor of Williston, I would like to tell you that I am truly very proud of you.
Way to go, Mr. Mayor. Very good. You are welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting, or if you would like to go, you may go. Your choice. All right. Item 3, presentation by City Manager Terry Brevard.
Will you come with me? Okay, can you hear me? So, as you know, like I said, with the Florida League of Cities, they're very supportive of the learning classes that we do. As you know, your clerk is very suggestive and forceful on us going to classes and going. Yes, absolutely. So to the point of making us go. And I will tell you that my experience has always been that I've learned a great deal. I will tell you that the Florida League of Cities would also like to recognize you in the Institute of the Elected Municipal Officers in the last class that you took, your EMO class. They wanted me to come up and present you with this plaque as on behalf of the Florida League of Cities and congratulate you on your class and present you with this plaque. Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right. Item 4, public participation. This is your first 2 opportunities to address the council. At this time, anyone in the audience can come to the podium and speak for 5 minutes on any topic other than what is in the agenda. Okay. All right. Item 5, consent agenda. These are the council minutes from September 17th, 2024. I'm sorry, September 17th, 2024. Can I get a motion? Okay. I have a first, I have a second. Any other discussion, concerns? No? All right. Move to vote. All in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Okay, 5-0. Updates. Staff, board, and council. All right, City Manager Terry Brevard.
All right, thank you, Mr. President. So as you know, once again, the hurricane is upon us, and I think probably what scares me the most is how easily the staff prepared this time for the hurricane. It tells me we're getting used to them. As you know, that when we do our staff meetings preparing for the hurricane, the mayor attended. It went quite well. It was very quick. Everybody knew their jobs, and we all basically got on track pretty quick. I will tell you that if there's anything that we have forgotten, which I would be shocked if we did, but we are currently prepared. As you know, City Hall, or if you don't know, we will be closing City Hall tomorrow and Thursday and sending non-essential employees home. And the staff will be here to ride out the storm and solve our problems that we have. We may open back up on Thursday. We'll have to see what the storm does. We kind of go from there. I will tell you this time around, we've asked Latricia to be our point of contact as our PIO, and hopefully you have seen much more updates on Facebook and the city webpage than you saw last time. So if you have any questions of me of our preparedness of what we're doing, I'd be more than happy to take them now. But other than that, that will conclude my staff update.
Okay. Text messaging works really well too, because we do have some older people who don't do the Facebook thing. And
so luckily for us, you know, eventually this text my gov may work out for us very well.
Yeah.
So we don't have the ability to do that right now.
As y'all know, I text y'all quite frequently. at all hours of the night. I'll try to keep those down to a minimum. I know y'all are sometimes asleep when we're working, and that's fine. And if you need anything, please let me know. As you know, we are also working on our website. We realize there's ways that we could better communicate with the public, and just those two things alone, which have been something we worked on, I don't know, for the last 6 weeks to bring here. Hopefully we'll be able to launch those pretty soon with a new web built, new TextMyGov. The marquee for outside, obviously, is something else the CRA is looking at as a sign. We can never communicate enough, and so we'll keep pushing forward for that.
All right. Anything else, sir? No. All right. Staff? Comments? All right. Police Chief Rolls.
We have pulled our men and women from our officers from Cedar Key to further notice. Spoken with Chief Jenkins, and he's talked to the mayor, and they're good to go. Told them if they need anything during the storm, just reach out to us. But we have pulled our people back so we can take care of our community.
Very good. Thank you, sir. Mr. Steve?
Yes, sir. Just want to let the council and everybody know that we're at this point in time, we're still planning to move forward with the grand opening for the terminal on Friday. We will make a weather call Thursday and push that out and let everybody know that, if you don't hear anything, plan to be there. If you do hear something, then it probably will be a don't show up. But you're all still more than welcome to come out either way.
All right.
Excuse me, Benton, could you give me the time again, please?
Sure. The ribbon cutting will be at 10:30, and be a short, sweet ceremony. Lunch will follow, and then we're kind of closing everything up by around 12:30. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you. Wants a picture of everybody? Okay. We can do that. We would like that. Thank you. All right.
You want a picture too, Donald? Do you want a picture too? Got your hand up.
Fire call! Fire call!
All right. We're still at staff.
I know that
Marvin?
we last meeting addressed the fence around the DRA on John Henry, and I want to give you guys an update. Told you 30 days. It's been 2 weeks. We do have the supplies ordered. They were actually supposed to order them today. We told them not to because I didn't want to take possession of them and something happened to them in the storm. With them holding them, they have to actually protect them. So they should be delivered by Friday, and we'll start building it next week and getting it all done. So I just wanted to give you guys an update on that. I know it was a concern.
All righty. Thank you, sir. Council? Anybody? Meredith? Deborah?
Yes.
Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. President. You know, the chief very kindly, just short version, we pulled our officers off. But let me tell you the rest of the story. Williston had its fire department and our police department go to our sister city in Cedar Key, and they were one of the few in Levy County that actually sent aid to our sister city. And I am very, very, very proud to be part of them and proud of them. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right. All right. Item C, discussion with possible action. Donate 5 Gravely zero-turn lawnmowers to the Department of Corrections. Jonathan Bishop, Utility Director.
Yes, so we had the 5 Gravely's that we do not use no more. They kind of partially work, but DOC also runs the same Gravely mowers, and I would like to donate them to them so they can get theirs up and going for their budget restraints that they have.
Okay. What do y'all think? Council? Okay, that's good. Ms. Blue, will we need to, can we just do a consensus, or we
A
all
motion
just
would
agree?
be appropriate. You don't need a resolution, but a motion.
Okay. Can I have a motion, please? For the donation of the 5 Gravely zero-turn mowers.
I make a motion that we agree to donate.
Second motion.
All right, second. I have a first, I have a second. Any other discussion?
Comment on the motion.
You may, sir.
Mr. Bishop,
Yes, sir.
in effect, are these mowers not operating and not worth fixing?
For us, no, sir. They have a whole fleet of them, and so the parts that they'll take off of ours will make theirs invaluable. They'll get them up, get theirs up.
So
and
they
running.
will use ours for parts or use theirs for parts to fix ours.
Absolutely.
But for us, they're not a usable commodity anymore.
No, sir.
I just want to make sure we're not giving them to them because we want to buy new.
No, sir.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So I've got a first, got a second. Any other discussion? No. All right. Move to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. 5-0.
Thank you.
All right. Letter D, presentation, comprehensive plan update. Laura Jones, city planner.
Thank you, Mr. President. We've talked a couple times in the past couple of months. Can you turn me down? that our comprehensive plan will be updated for the next 18 months or so. So we did give a presentation to planning and zoning last month, and we did get another presentation put together to you guys from JV Pro, who we contracted to help us with this big project. So they just want to come here and give you an update on the schedule, and everybody should have their comp plan in front of them at this point or at home. So, and that's their old one. So go ahead and study that. We're going to be updating that one. So if I could welcome Kathy and Nick from JV Pro, they'll take it from here.
If you could give me just a minute to try to get the new one up. I just received it. This is an update from the one you have in your packet, okay?
Good evening, Mayor, President. We are excited to be back to support the strategy for the development of Williston once again. I am excited to introduce you to Nick Hill, who will be the project manager for this project. I will continue to be the planning principal on the project, but Nick will be leading the everyday operations of it and all the activities. We have also secured the services of 2 sub-consultants. Matt Lewis from Stantec will be working with us on the land use plan and looking at some new land use strategies, particularly for the implementation of the Main Street plan that you just adopted this past spring. We have also secured the contract services of New Urban Design. They are a transportation expert and a mixed-use development expert. So once again, we have secured them to help us with the Main Street plan and implementation of the Main Street plan through the comprehensive plan, but also for looking at Route 27 for some design standards and ensuring that we can integrate the mixed-use walkability that we talked about in the Main Street plan throughout the city. So you will see mostly Nick and myself, but at times you will see Stantec or New Urban Design assisting us with this project. And at that, I'm going to turn it over to Nick, who will give you the presentation.
All right. Thank you, Kathy, for that warm introduction, and thank you, Mayor, President, and Council for having me here this evening. So like Kathy talked about, we're going to be talking about the City of Williston's comprehensive plan update. Congratulations on that process. That's a really exciting thing to undergo. It's a big deal. I hope you feel it is too. Next slide. So we have a lot of fun on our agenda tonight. First, we're going to reintroduce you to the project team. Then we're going to provide you a brief overview of the plan update process. Then walk you through that project timeline. And then my favorite part, we're going to hear from you, what you want to see out of this process. And then we're going to talk about next steps. Next slide, please. So this project is really a partnership between the City of Williston, led by the wonderful Laura and Nikki, as well as the JV Pro Planning Department, as led by me. Again, my name is Nicholas Hill. I'll be the project manager for this effort. I've been comprehensive planning for jurisdictions across the state of Florida for several years now, and that's why I was able to pry this project out of Kathy's cold, dead grip, because she really wanted this project. But I convinced her to let me take a hold of it with her still acting as the principal in charge. Next. And of course, we will be receiving additional planning support from some sub-consultants, including Matt Lewis from Stantec. Next. So whenever we do these types of presentations, we never know who the audience is going to be. There could be someone who's exposed to the comprehensive plan for the first time. So we always like to start with the basics. What is a comprehensive plan? A comprehensive plan is basically a state-mandated master plan for the future of your community. Next. And through that comprehensive plan, we can help coordinate local decision-making, provide guidance to landowners on what they can do with their property. My personal favorite, implement a shared community vision, which we'll talk about more in a second. Next. So a master plan for an entire community obviously has to cover a wide range of topics, right? And these topics are covered in their own individual chapters, which in the comp plan world we call elements. The adopted elements of your comprehensive plan today are as follows: introduction, future land use, transportation, infrastructure, economic development, housing, conservation, recreation and open space, public school facilities, intergovernmental coordination, capital improvements, public participation, monitoring and evaluation, and concurrency management system. Those shown in orange are those that are required by the state of Florida to be addressed in their own individual elements, and those shown in gray are optional elements that the city has decided are important to their future and therefore deserve their own elements as well. The real reason I read each of these and bring this slide up is because I want you to understand that each of these specific topics will be addressed as part of the comprehensive plan update and will be looked at whether or not they remain their own elements of the plan at the end of the day. All right, next. So each of these elements has two primary components. First is the data analysis, which provides us the factual basis for that topic and identifies the issues and opportunities for that specific focus area in the comp plan. After that is the goals, objectives, and policies of each element, which is really the implementation side to address those issues and opportunities that you identify in the data analysis. Next. But at this point, you're probably thinking, Nick, we just updated the comprehensive plan. I believe last major update was 2018. Why do we need to update it again? Next. Well, first, it's actually required by Florida statute. We have to update the comp plan at least every 7 years to make sure it's consistent with recent changes in Florida law. Next. We want to make sure that we're sufficiently preparing for future growth, and what level we're going to grow is something that we'll look at as part of the data analysis process, and something you'll have plenty of opportunity to comment on next. And of course, we want to make sure that we are implementing any great planning work that the city is doing, such as Kathy talked about recently, the Downtown Williston Main Street Plan. The comprehensive plan update is a perfect opportunity to begin that implementation process. Next. Of course, we want to make sure we can reevaluate current practices, standards, to understand if we could be doing anything better as a city or anything more streamlined in our processes. Next. And then, of course, what I alluded to earlier, we can reflect a shared community vision. Next. And really, that's what Phase 1 is all about, building that community vision, which takes us from August 2024 to March 2025. And to build that community vision, we are going to work directly with your community to empower them to identify, build consensus on, and implement a shared community vision for the future of Williston. And so during that time, we're also going to be working on the data analysis for each element. So as we look to start Phase 2 in the actual plan update, starting to draft those goals, objectives, and policies and revise what you have now, we'll have two critical pieces of information by that point. The community vision plan and the data analysis, the factual basis for the plan, so we can make informed decisions about the goals, objectives, and policies we'll be revising. Now I'm going to let Kathy Evolve to go into a little bit more detail as to what that phasing may look like and the great community engagement work that we are going to do as part of this process.
So the first part of the community visioning, first of all, we are building off of the community visioning effort that we've already done for the Downtown Main Street Plan. We have not ignored the input that we received that. We are now putting that in its own box. We are building on it. We recognize that the comprehensive plan is a citywide plan. And when we were focused on the community engagement for the Main Street, we really focused on that corridor and the implementation of that corridor. Now we're taking that implementation and we're going further with it. So in this first phase, which will start, has actually started, if you were at the festival this weekend, yes, Chief Bowles, I saw you. I do remember. I also remember I owe you a phone call. So if you were at the festival this weekend, you saw that we had a booth there. If you were at the Fiesta a couple weeks ago, you also saw us. And in that input, we received talked to over 300 people who came by our booth and talked about the vision that they had, the ideas that they had, any challenges that they had, and we got some really great input. So because of that input that we received at the pop-up events, what we call pop-up events, festival events, we are now able to accelerate our community engagement effort because we don't think that there's much that we need to do in terms of having a workshop that reiterates the information we've already gotten there. So now we're able to really move on into more accelerated and more strategic community visioning as we move into the next phase. Move on. So like I said, we're going to be doing outreach events, but we're also going to be targeting our schools. We know just by this evening and how wonderful it is that every month you applaud your students, that the Williston schools are really important. We talked about that when we did the Main Street plan. That's why they were one of the anchors of our Main Street corridor. And so we're going to be going into our schools and talking to our classrooms about what their vision for the community is. In fact, after all, this is their plan. This plan is for the students. We talked to a wonderful woman this weekend who had lived here in Williston, was born here in Williston, and lived here for 85 years. So now it's our turn to go back and talk to the students who will live here for the next 85 years and what they want to see out of their community. We're going to be talking to you. We will come to you at the end of every major phase and letting you know what we've heard, what we've learned, and how that's going to be brought forward into your comprehensive plan. And we'll be doing the same with the planning board. Next. So at the end of this phase, the major deliverable is that we will have a vision statement, a vision plan for how the comprehensive plan will be implemented. So we'll really understand the foundation for which we will develop our goals, objectives, and policies. And this all starts with a brand. You may have heard about City Reimagined. It was really kind of cool as I was walking around the festival grounds and taking a little break from the booth. I heard people going, heard people talking. Did you stop by the Reimagine booth? Did you talk to those people talking about the city? And I even had a couple of people who came back and said, we've been looking for your booth. We knew we heard you were here. We needed to give you our input. So City Reimagined Williston 2050 is the idea that we are reimagining what Williston can become in the next 25 years. And we worked with staff on this logo, which has elements of the logo that we did for the downtown Main Street plan, but kind of takes it again a little bit further, as this is a citywide plan. So we're connecting the two, not ignoring the two, recognizing they're all part of the same strategy to develop the future of Williston. So as I mentioned, we were both at the Williston Fiesta and the Peanut Festival, and these are some of the pictures. We have a little frame of a little frame that we give to people and ask them to take pictures. So we've got quite a few pictures of all different kind of people with their frame. We asked the kids to draw their picture of what their favorite part of the community was. And we got some great drawings from the kids. We had great discussions with parents and with children and with seniors. It was really multi-generational. It was wonderful. And we also have the Show Us Your Williston Story, kind of this idea of Williston story. What is your story? Talk to us about the story of Williston, how you see Williston, and how you would reimagine your story in the future. So we're developing a map that shows us where people want to live, work, and play in Williston. And the really cool thing about it was, I think we expected, especially this past weekend, knowing that the Peanut Festival is an event that draws people from all over the region. In the end, we end up talking to mostly people who live right here in Williston, who call Williston their community. Even if some of them would say, well, Williston's my community, my home, but I don't live inside the city boundaries. But there were most people we talked to. Occasionally we talked to somebody from Orlando and from Gainesville or somewhere else, but most people we talked to really consider Williston as their home. And so it was great to talk to them and have some really interesting conversations. And I think staff was really pleased with the activities. They came by and helped us with the booth from time to time. So we were really excited by the participation we got. Probably more than we've ever had from any single other event. And we've had some really great community engagement efforts that we've done over the last couple of years. But I think these events have brought more attention to the planning activities than any of the other activities we've ever done. Move on. And now I'm going to turn back to Nick.
Excellent. Next. So you might have noticed that the phasing in Phase 1 was fairly similar from Phase 1A, 1B, 1C. We largely follow that same track in Phase 2A and 2B. We're going to continue to do outreach events, getting in front of the community, meeting folks where they are, understanding that some folks may not turn out for the workshop on the weeknight, but they will turn out for something like the Williston Fiesta. And so continuing to gather input through that effort. We also intend to host open houses, which, as opposed to public workshops, which are really intensive, kind of 2-hour meetings with the public where we do a really structured community engagement activity. At these open houses, we like them to be a lot longer. Kathy and I will make ourselves available during that day, and at this time, as we're updating the actual plan itself, we'll make sure we have plenty of time for if folks come in at any point in the day during the open house, we or another member of the project team is available to speak to them about any of those changes, really bridge the gap between their vision and as well as the actual plan update itself. And then, of course, at each stage, at each individual phase, we'll also come back to and present to you the findings of that stage and really allow you to provide comments. If anything needs to be adjusted or reevaluated for the next subphase between 2A and 2B, you'll have opportunity to do that for us. Next. And then at the very end, of course, we will have the hearing process, which we will work with staff all the way through that process. Next. I just want to point out one very important thing is that you have a wonderful comprehensive plan today that probably needs a little bit of work, right? Needs a little touch up. And so one of the first things that we'll do before we do the actual update to goals, objectives, and policies is run an audit, basically of what we call it of your existing comp plan. We want to know what's worked, what hasn't, what needs improvements, and what can we keep as part of that comprehensive plan update. So that way we're not just completely throwing out all the good work that has already been done. We're building upon that. We're advancing it based upon the community vision, based upon the data analysis and based upon the direction provided by your board. Next. So you've heard us talk a lot tonight, a little bit about the plan update process, the project timeline, all the community engagement work that we have done already and that we will be doing, especially those involving the kids and the schools as we want to plan for their community. But really, we want to turn it back to you. You've heard a lot tonight. We want to know, what do you want to see from this process? What are some of the other public engagement tools do you think that we should consider that we didn't already speak about tonight? What are some of the topic areas that you think this plan really needs to address to be successful? I'm going to use that to open up the floor to that conversation right now, whoever wants to take the first shot. You're in shock. Can you elaborate a little bit more on that?
Well, yeah. I knew we were talking about this, and we were not expecting the presentation. Well done. However, I'm not prepared to make any comments on that.
Sure. Absolutely. Just to reiterate, we are in the very beginning of this process. We've done 2 community engagement activities just because we don't want to pass this opportunity up to meet with so many members of your community, and we understand both of those were big events, and we felt like we can move forward on the project a little bit just to make sure that we are getting out in front of the people before we lose that opportunity. But yes, we're still in the very, very early stages.
So, what has been the most popular item that the public has said what they would like to see from Williston?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many good ones, but I'm sure Kathy has an answer. But one of the first things, and what I keep hearing over and over again, is that people love the small town charm of Williston. And I don't think that people necessarily are afraid to grow, but if there is growth, it needs to be strategic. And it needs to retain that small town charm that brought so many folks to Williston. And we can definitely do that through this comprehensive plan update process. Develop strategies for how we can keep that small town charm, even if we have some semblance of growth. What that level is going to be, we'll actually identify through the data analysis process. But Kathy, you want to?
So Nick's right. That's absolutely the number one thing we've heard. A couple of things, as you know, I've worked with your community now for 2 years. So there were a couple of things that I learned that I haven't never heard before. And the number of community engagement efforts we've done through the update of the map and through the Williston Downtown Project was kind of surprising me that I learned some things. The number one was the community is looking for health services here. They really feel like they don't have good access to an urgent care type facility. They're not looking for a big hospital, but they would like some more choices when it comes to local doctors and urgent care facilities. A number of people suggested that we need to work with the University of Florida to see if we can get an urgent care, one of their branches that they have in the Gainesville area, and bring it down to Williston. The other thing that surprised me that I had not heard before was the amount of the amount of people who want to make sure that the surrounding areas of Williston are as connected to the community, but remain in a very rural state. So a lot of people were, like I said, they said they're part of the community, but they don't live in the city. And those people were very much like, and don't bring growth out to us. Let us stay in our large lots. They like the 5 acres. They like the 10 acres. So they wanted us to work very closely with Levy County to make sure that whatever planning we did, we absorb, like Nick said, we absorb the growth inside the city and leave the county to be rural. So those were 2 things that I had not really heard from before. But the other thing that I was really happy with, and probably the thing I was most excited about, is people said they want a mixed-use downtown. They want a place they can walk. They want a destination. And so we started asking the question, well, had you heard about the master plan that was just adopted for Williston Main Street? And there were people who had, definitely, but then there were quite a few people who had not heard about the Williston Main Street master plan. So that's something that we learned about as well, that we need to do a better job of talking about the good work that you've already done and how this plan will achieve those kind of goals that have already been established, especially for the Williston Main Street. So I think those are the big things that I've taken away so far. We've heard a lot of things that we already knew about, that they love the character of downtown. They love the character of the community. They want the historic homes to remain. There was a lot of pride from people who have lived here all their lives. We talked to one woman who's been here for 6 generations, somebody else who's been here for 5 generations. A lot of pride in your community. But a lot of people who said, don't change anything. A lot of people would like to have, as you grow with the business side, to make sure that it's small business. That's something we heard about when we did the downtown plan, so that wasn't a surprise. But hearing some of the things that we talked about in the Main Street plan to be echoed again here, whether or not people had heard about the plan before, to know that the synergy was there, was really strong, because that means we don't have to go back and reinvent what we just adopted. We just need to implement what we adopted through your comprehensive plan. So I'm really excited. Nick is right. I did not really want to give this project up when I hired him, but Nick is as you can see, he's so amazingly talented, and I know he's in great hands. And so I'm continue to be excited to continue to work with you, because I gotta have people I can rib on my Chief Frills. I know. I mean, that's the other thing I think that was really wonderful, is that people have seen us a number of times, and so we've kind of become a part of the community, which I take a lot of pride in, that we're not just that consultant anymore. We're as much work here. What?
They think you work here.
They do think we work here, and I'm okay with that. We also had a lot of people who really thanked us for going and doing the pop-up. We had a couple people like this. We've never had anyone do an engagement effort here at the festival, and I was like, well, we actually did some as part of Williston Main Street, but it was nice anyways that they really enjoyed that we went to them instead of asking them to come to us.
Very good.
I just want to make one other comment. I just remembered as Kathy was speaking about the community. One other comment that we kept hearing was, and it just charms me to no end, particularly after what I just saw tonight, there was a lot of comments about having stuff for kids to do. And that's why it's so great that this project staff has been so kind to embed into our project opportunities for us to get into the schools and speak to kids about what their vision is for the future of the community. What do they need as part of this comp plan update? So we're very excited for that to be a part of it. I hope you are too, because so often they're completely left out of these talks.
And I'll keep this short because I know everybody, we got hurricane prep. We want to get out of here.
Sure.
But how much success have you guys had in the past working with Florida Department of Transportation for like view sheds coming in and out of a city? Because that sets the tenor and the feel as you come. And
it's absolutely very important to us. And Kathy and I have worked with FDOT on numerous occasions, particularly for comp plan updates, and having them involved in these conversations is incredibly important. They need to understand that what the city's vision of that corridor is, or multiple corridors in some cases, and communicating that vision to them will often bring them to the table and start considering different changes to reflect that vision. That being said, we have also often, as Kathy brought up earlier today, brought in new urban design, new urban concepts rather, and they will be helping us with the transportation side of things and helping us get DOT to the table and making sure they're a part of this process as well, and make sure that everyone's on the same page and we're collaborating and singing from the same sheet music.
That's specifically Martin is exactly why we brought in New Urban. They have a lot of success doing these kind of projects across the state and have a very strong working relationship with FDOT. It's while we have worked on them, we have worked with FDOT policy standpoint. They actually work with them on the implementation standpoint. So having Jonathan and Lauren from New Urban to be a part of this project is really critical to helping make sure that we get the success. We understand, and it's something that we heard a lot about President Cox about. People don't want Williston to be a through town anymore. They don't want Williston to be something that they just drive through, and they really want us to work with DOT to slow traffic down through the downtown, to slow traffic down so people can walk and bike and they can stop and participate and see what's here. So we understood that. That's why we brought them in as our partners on this project. So because we understand they have the relationships that are really going to move this needle forward a lot further than honestly.
Yeah, because I think when you're saying about people with downtown, they want to stop and everything like that, is once they get all that paved, is put signs on 27 saying parking with an arrow so people realize, because when we moved down from Maryland, it used to be parking along the street along 27 many years ago. DOT took that away. We have it across the front. So we lost, probably 5 or 6 spots, Mr. Mayor, you said? So we lost that area.
Yeah, and as part of this process, something that we're going to do is speak to the community as part of our workshops, particularly, and show them, based upon the preliminary analysis that we've already done, that yes, just like you mentioned, we already identified pictures which show street parking on 27 and show that change and how that's changed over time, and really giving the public all the information we can so they can develop a more informed vision, not only about their downtown, but the rest of the community. And so it's just funny you bring that up, because that's exactly one photo that we'll be showing at the first workshop.
Okay.
Nick and I both, when we both find one, hey, have you seen this one? We found some. Yes, we found some from you.
Sorry to say, where can I send them?
And we've asked people, when we talk to people who have been here for multiple generations, if you have pictures, could you give us pictures? Would you share pictures with us? So we've been doing our own homework. We found quite a bit of old photos, but if there is anyone in the community that has old photos of what Williston used to look like, and those are photos that you want us to know, so that as we reimagine the future, we're thinking about where the historic past comes from, please share them with us. We are collecting them.
Excellent. Thank you so much for your comment. Any other questions or comments? Okay. I got a few more slides. Next slide. I promise I'm almost near the end. Next. And next after that. All right. So like I mentioned, we're in the beginning of this process. We're in phase 1A, if you want to call it that, the very early processes. We did some community outreach because we didn't want to pass these opportunities up. But to finish phase 1A, we're going to get back into the community, go to the local schools. We're still working on identifying which one to start, and meeting with students directly in the classroom about this process. And then we are also going to be hosting our first public workshop, as far as I'm aware, right here in this room on November 13th, 2024. We certainly hope you can make it and help with that conversation. Next. And just to reiterate.
Right in the middle of National League of Cities Conference.
Oh, is it?
And I think there's at least 4 of us going.
Okay, gotcha. Well, we'll work with staff if we need to refine that date. But just to reiterate, as we close this presentation, Kathy and I are just so pleased to be part of this project. We feel a real sense of ownership and pride over this project, and we're very, very proud to help the community facilitate this process. I think you can see from all the happy faces on this slide that we're doing our best to really get community and make sure that this comprehensive plan update is truly a community-driven process. That's where the plan is going to be successful. So, thank you again.
Thank you.
I love the logo, by the way. Whoever came up with it.
We have stickers.
I want one.
Yeah.
Where can I get one?
President Cox, can I just wrap something up for you guys real quick?
You
I
may.
know that the mayor did bring up a good point that this is a really big book that I put in front of you guys, and it's a little bit overwhelming sometimes. But don't forget that there are elements. Typically, I tell people to just go through chapter by chapter. Don't get overwhelmed by the whole thing. That's what the consultants and the planners are here to do, to try to make it all get to go together at the end. But my door's always open, so if you guys just want to look at it, if you have anything you have questions about, or you think that there's things you want changes, you don't have to wait till the end. You don't have to wait till workshop. You can always come in and let me know, as the process is going. Okay.
I think Mr. Fuller and I have both told you that we helped write the one that you just handed out to us.
Yes, ma'am.
And when we got it back, neither one of us recognized it.
Yes, ma'am.
And we helped do all the visioning, and we walked from business to business, getting businesses impressions, what they wanted as well. And when we got it back, it was not at all what we had told them. So I for one am very happy to look at it again, and let's do it right this time. Because we have to live by it once we do it.
Yes, ma'am. Mr. Fuller told us about his experience when we give this presentation to the Planning and Zoning Commission. So it'll be a little bit different this time around.
Good.
Council, got any other questions or comments? All right. So we don't need to vote on anything with this, just rock and roll. Good. All right. E, Resolution 2024-106. A resolution of the City Council of the City of Williston, Florida, approving the amendment to the State of Florida Department of Transportation Public Transportation Grant Agreement for fiscal project number 425169-2-94-25 regarding the Williston Municipal Airport Taxiway G rehabilitation and realignment, authorizing appropriate parties to sign any documents required to execute such amendment on behalf of the City of Williston and provide an effective date. Mr. Benton-Steep.
Yes, sir. So what this is we have a couple of housekeeping resolutions for you tonight for some of our grants. We're adding some funding to the Taxiway G project because we think we may need a little bit more in it, and we've got some available funding from the FAA. So we're adding that to this project, and we should be starting construction pretty soon. Next council meeting, I should have a work order for you guys from Passero and the contract to get started on that one.
Okay. All right. Council have any questions?
It's going to connect to the well-built area, right?
Yes, ma'am.
I know it's not well-built anymore, but
Yes, ma'am. There's a diagram in the packet. What's happening is it's not going to appear the same because the FAA doesn't like the straight-in taxiway. So you can see the perforated area is kind of old asphalt. That's how it stands now, and the solid gray joining up to the runway is going to be the new geometry for the taxiway.
are they going to take up the old pavement?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that was my question I had to. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else on council have questions? No? All right. I will entertain a motion for approval of resolution 2024-106.
Move approval of resolution 2024-106.
All right. Is there a second?
Second.
Any other discussion, public or council? Anything? All right. Seeing none, move to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
5-0. All right, resolution 2024-107. A resolution of the City Council of the City of Williston, Florida, approving the amendment to the State of Florida Department of Transportation Public Transportation Grant Agreement for fiscal project number 444473-1-94-01 regarding the Williston Municipal Airport design and construction, new hangar buildings, authorizing the appropriate parties to sign any documents required to execute such amendment on behalf of the City of Williston and approving an effective date. Mr. Steep.
Yes, sir. So what this amendment is for is the new hangar on the T hangar row. It's going to be a box hangar, but after some geo testing, we found some areas that are possibly concerning. So we talked to we talked to FDOT about it, and they threw some additional funding at us just in case there's some discrepancies in the soil that we have to take care of on the front side.
Okay. All right, council, have any questions?
I would just comment that we can always move it.
We could, yes,
Yep,
ma'am.
I don't
but
like it there anyway, but no, I've had that discussion. I mean, I've told you how I feel about putting in the middle of Tinghagen Road, but you know, I know you're okay with it, so that's all right.
Right. So the intention behind it is to make it the same as Building C. So we're putting the box hanger there now because that's what we have the funding for, and we're going to add T hangers to it to the end of it.
So you're just gonna flip it to the other, put the big hanger at the other end and T
Yes,
hangers on this end.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Yeah, that's the intention, is to make it basically make it mirror Building C.
that's the first I've heard of that. That's good.
Well, I'm
That
sorry.
would make me feel better.
Yeah, I'm sorry I didn't mention that in the past.
That's
but
good.
Okay. Anybody else? All right, I will entertain a motion for approval of resolution 2024-107.
Make a motion to approve resolution 2024-107.
Can I get a second?
I second.
All right. Any discussion from audience or council? Nope. All right. Seeing none, we'll move to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. 5-0. All right. G, resolution 2024-110, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Williston, Florida, electing to remove automatic CPI increase for fiscal year 2024-2025 to water, wastewater, and reclaimed water rates pursuant to ordinance 2023-722, section 35, codified December 11th, 2023, authorizing appropriate parties to sign any documents required, effectuate the same on behalf of the City of Williston, providing an effective date. Mr. Terry Brevard.
All right, Mr. President, thank you very much. Yeah, there was some original discussion at the beginning of whether or not we would discuss this tonight or leave it on the agenda, and I'm glad that you left it on the agenda so we could have a discussion about it. So as you know, the water ordinance allows us to, or actually includes a consumer price index increase that occurs automatically every October 1st. You know, my opinion was this year, because of the recent increases in the water and wastewater rates, that the CPI increase, you know, was really not something that we wanted to do this year on top of what we've already done. You know, we have done a little bit of research on it. I will tell you some discussions that I've had with Stephen, and I don't know if he's online because we've lost Aaron somewhere. You know, but the bottom line was, if you remove the CPI for this year only, you know, we would gain, if we left it in place, about an additional $64,000, which is on top of what we're already making. I will tell you there were some documentations from Florida Rural Water discussing what leaving the CPI meant, what taking it away meant. However, I will tell you that the conversation that Donald and I had, at least with them, was that they were unaware, at least the lady we talked to, Diane, what's her last name? What is it? Yeah. That basically she was unaware that the actual increases had occurred in the city with the water and the wastewater. So having realized that, we are going to set a date in the near future to sit down there and discuss where our new rates are, what we've done. And to her defense, there was another person that was operating or not dealing with, but working with the city that was aware of our rate increases and knew what was really going on. He has since left the organization doing something else, so we're dealing directly with her. The city attorney has done the review on it. I'll let her speak to it, but it's my opinion from her understanding is that we can decide not to do the CPI increase and let the water rates remain the same for this year. And I'll let her jump in on that.
Yeah, so I made sure that that was spelled out pretty clearly in the body of the resolution itself, so that anyone who had any questions knew exactly where we get this legal authority. Essentially, what your ordinance says is there's an automatic CPI increase every year. And then in the following section, it indicates that you all can set any rates, fees, charges, deposits, or costs by resolution. So pursuant to that clause, you have the ability to come in and say, okay, well, for this year or for whatever period of time you want, you can by resolution make that change. So that's how we get to the CPI to the CPI elimination from a legal standpoint.
So there's been discussion, obviously, with staff about the mandatory or the by ordinance CPI increase. I felt that it was inappropriate, so we did not follow it beginning October 1. I felt this was a topic based on the information that I received from the city attorney, that I do believe it should fall in the purview and that y'all should have the final say on this of which way we should go. I obviously, I'm looking for some guidance. You can either approve the resolution tonight. We can table it, come back with additional information. You can just give me instructions. It's up to y'all what y'all want to do. I will tell you that if you approve it tonight and later on we have a discussion with Florida Rural Water and they're happy with our rates, I will be the first one to come back and tell you, yes, when they looked at the rates that we raised to, they were in agreement, not necessarily they have to be. And she told us that. Look, we don't have any dog in this fight since I'm making this decision. This is a decision we get to make locally and how it affects our citizens. So, but the fiscal impact will be that although we are making what we're making now, and what we're making now keeps us sustainable, right? We will lose out on the additional $64,000 revenue, and I'm okay with that based on what I've seen from talking to Stephen. And I don't want to speak for Mr. Bloom. If he's there, I will tell you the discussions that I have, which is obviously third party, is basically that he feels not raising the rates will be fine. This is sustainable going into next year, and probably considering everything we raised so far would be more than appropriate. And if Stephen and Aaron's not here, so yeah. So I will tell you this: even if y'all approve the resolution tonight, the meetings between myself, Donald, and Rural Water will still be held. I do want to talk to them and show them where we have made our increases and what we've done in order to move our water rates forward and to receive input from them as whether or not those are justifiable or not, or, what should we do next year, or should we come back in front of you and do something different? I will tell you right now, I am very comfortable with it.
I was happy to see it on the agenda. I didn't know it was going to be here, but I was happy to see it because I don't think we need to raise them. They're high enough now.
Well, keep in mind, we will not lose money.
Right. I realize that.
Okay.
This is just an increase.
Yeah, this will be just an increase.
And I'm not ready to do that. Especially since we just did it.
My concern is we're moving forward with the ship, slowly turning and everything else. So my concern is, are we going to be taking a step back? And, and that's going to stall the ship, let's say. Because what's to say come next year, there's not. I would like to see what, like you just said with the lady from Florida Waterways, just to see what comes out of the meeting with it. I know that we have electric on a 5-year, it's a small percentage increase.
We do.
And, that could be, kind of the same way.
I think it's been less than a year when we changed the rates, and I think it's very inappropriate to raise it now when it's been only a few months since we raised it. It's almost like a double dip.
Yes, sir.
You can, I'm talking to the attorney now, you can just do it for 1 year, right? You don't have to amend the whole CPI scheduled.
Absolutely.
Okay. I wanted to be sure. I agree with Councilor Jones. I have heard nothing but difficulties from our citizens, and we have increased their costs a great deal. And we have a plan. We don't have to change it. We can just hold it for a year, let them get a little more used to what they're dealing with before we continue on with what we have to do. So that's just my opinion.
What would it cost per citizen if we did it?
Donald had those figures, but I don't know if we even brought them tonight because of, but if he has them, if he wants to go over, he can.
So on the residential water rates, we did 3 things. We did what the current is, the 2.5 for the CPI, and then Florida Rural Water stated that we should actually do a 3.2. So we did the figure on all those. On water for residential, the base charge is $20.46. The CPI that we're proposing, it would take it to $20.97. It's 51 cents a month. The 3.2 is 21.11. So it's like 70 something. That was the inside the city charge. The outside city charge, base charge for water, is $22.51 currently. These 2.5% CPI increase would change it to $23.07. So approximately 56 cents. That's what the change would be for inside and outside the city limits. The residential sewer rates, the base charge is $60.75. The change would be $62.27, less than $2 a month. The commercial rates, standard commercial usually is 2-inch. Their base rate currently is $74.40. The change would be to $76.26, less than $1.80 per month. I have the average bills for the car washes. I have the average bills for the laundry mats, and I have the average bill for all the residential, both at 5,000 gallon use and 10,000. Nothing's increased, even on the commercial, more than $20 a month.
What is the base rate allowed for in gallons?
I'm sorry?
What gallon do the base rates allow for?
So the first tier is 5,000 gallons, and a average residential, I can find that for you here. Average inside water rate at 5,000 gallons with the base charge and their water usage is $64.86 currently. And if this changes, it'll go to $66.41. That's both the base charge and consumption, so it's less than $2.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Council, anybody else got questions?
Did we have any information on the inches, the size, the meters and stuff? Or I know you had 2-inch. Do we have the 4 and 6 and all that?
There are no customers that we had any issues with that had more than a 2-inch meter. The laundromat and the car wash, which were 2 in particular, they all have 2-inch meters. If you guys want to talk about that, I have those figures.
Well, I was just kind of curious if the 4 and the 6-inch, because I know they step up.
Sure.
What are they stepped up to?
So the 4-inch meter on base rate currently is $232.50. It goes up less than $5. It goes to $238.31. That's for the 4-inch.
Do we have any more of that?
Well, that's the 4-inch. I mean, we have one 6-inch client and we have two 8-inch clients. The 6-inch client is at $465 currently. It would go to $476.63. So it would be less than $20 a month.
And then we say we got one 8-inch.
We have two 8-inch. Those are industrial clients. They pay $744 a month. They would go to, with the CPI, they would go to $762.60. Again, less than $20 increase. Those are for industrial clients.
we get some different grants and good stuff from the Florida Water?
We got our lead service line through them. We have our SRF loan, which was addressed in the letter. That's we have a lot. We do a lot through Florida Rural Water.
And I just don't want to see us jeopardize losing any loans or whatever in the future.
That would be the meeting that Terry referred to in November.
Yeah, I think the problem was with, now, what's the gentleman's name that left?
Mr. Andrew Green.
Yeah, Mr. Green, when he left, we were working with him. So I think working with Diana is basically, she was unaware. I think when she penned this letter that Donald has, she was unaware that we had changed our rates and increased everything. So I think that was the reason why, I don't think we do. That's the reason why we're meeting with her to go over with her. Okay, look, this is what we had. You came in, you did your study. This is what we raised them to. Okay. And then she may have either the same view that we need to continue with the CPI, or she may have a totally different view. One of the two. That I don't know.
But in any case, it's our decision, not hers.
Well, it absolutely is y'all's decision. And she made that very clear on the phone. Basically, I don't know. I mean, I got the kind of feeling in speaking to her that, she probably maybe would have written a different letter. I can't really speak for her had she known we raised our rates and got us in a little better position. She was still concerned about our, as everybody is, still concerned about our capital improvement projects and things like that. And her concern was that, I'm assuming she thought maybe we didn't change our rates, that obviously we could not continue to fund our capital improvements or operate the city water system based on losing money every year. But we don't lose money every year, so this is going to be a whole new set of numbers she's going to be looking at. And they're not quick. I'm just going to tell you that too. What I'm looking for, to be honest with you, because it's an ordinance, I'm looking for y'all to give me some direction on which way you want us to go. And if it's a consensus, that works fine for me. When somebody questions whether or not we raised the rates or what we did, I want to make sure that we got ourselves covered through the ordinance. Either way. What was that?
So you all, if you are going to leave it as it is, you don't need a resolution. Just give us consensus. We'll leave it how it is with the CPI increase because it's an automatic increase that's built in. So technically, it's already in place. It's already been increased. What you all are considering is a resolution that eliminates that back out. And that's something that you can do through resolution, but you have to do it through resolution.
Well, we have not added these new rates.
And I understand that from a logistical standpoint that we haven't. But that's sort of where we hinge, is that technically the rates have been implemented with the CPI increase under your ordinance. So if you want to change that, you have to pass this resolution. Otherwise, your staff will need to collect with the CPI increase.
I just would like some clarity from you if I could.
Sure.
You said if they want to change that, that means permanent change.
So
because
if
you did not say for a year or anything like that.
I to be more specific, if you want to change it for any period of time in any amount, you must do that by resolution.
Okay, so I'm going to make you a motion, and y'all can take it or leave it. I move we approve resolution 2024-110 to remove the automatic CPI until October of 2025.
We have a motion.
Yes, a motion. I have a second to it. That's a motion. That we approve resolution 2024-110 for 1 year till October 2025. And reconsidering it. and then it would automatically go back into effect on October 1st of next year.
Mr. Bishop?
The only thing I would like to say, if y'all don't mind, is
Yeah, Mr. President, I do.
Oh, okay, you did. I did not hear it. Sorry. Go ahead.
the only thing I'd like to, only statement I would like to make is the city's finally in the black all the way across. Y'all and us have worked so hard to go from the red to the black. It's something to be very proud of. In the past, the previous council chose not to raise the rates in small increments or big increments. Then we had to make the big rate hikes, which scared us, y'all, and the citizens. And I totally see the optics of that. What I'm scared of is if as we try to dig ourselves out of this hole, if we repeat the same mistakes, if you don't mind me using the word mistakes in the past, as we dig ourselves out of the hole, we're automatically digging another hole to crawl in. And how do we dig out of that one? So if we postpone this for a year, yes, it's $64,000. But if we postpone it again next year, it's 64 plus whatever next year's rates are. And the only thing I can see is if we're not careful, we're going back in the same rabbit hole we're trying to dig ourselves out of now.
It's been less than a year since we raised the rates.
I
cannot sit here and raise them again, even
even
if it is as little as we said it was.
I absolutely see the optics. I'm just scared of the future is all I'm trying to say. I'm not saying your decision's right or wrong, or I agree or disagree. I'm just scared of reinventing the wheel that we're trying to get out of now. That's all I'm trying to say.
I agree. And I agree with what you said. Can't keep doing it. But if it had been a full year, it would have been a different story. But it hasn't. And we're not taking any money away. We're just not putting the extra money in.
Absolutely. So next year, do we try to raise it double to catch back up?
We don't.
So then we're automatically behind again.
So then what I'm going to say is,
No, you're good.
so then what I'm going to say is that we need to look at different ways of saving money.
I'm not against that at all.
So I'm going to say this, and I know every time I say it, people are not so happy about it. But when we look at our budget and things in an overall manner, we give raises every year whether or not people want them. So you're talking about increasing the taxpayer having to pay things out, right? Because it's not going to, or decreasing it, we're not agreeing to this because it's going to lose, we're not going to make $64,000. But yet, and still, every year we're giving raises. So even if we do this and we give raises next year, we may have made some money, but in the bottom line, it probably won't be $64,000. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just saying, in reference to what Ms. Jones just said, instead of continuing to compound the citizens to make money, how about we look at some other things to decrease that and still be okay?
So I'm totally open for the conversation. Absolutely. My only concern is just recreating a wheel. I'm not saying do it one way or the other, right or wrong, but it's just something to think about. That's all I'm trying to ask.
But we continue to recreate the wheel every year when we're giving raises, whether people deserve it or not.
Mr. Barber?
So Ms. Hines, I agree with you completely. I didn't get a raise for 3 years, so I didn't get a raise every year. When we increased rates starting 4 years ago, when Jonathan and I came in, we did not ask for raises. Not all of our staff got raises. We proposed merit raises every year. On top of that, we were the only department that put together a evaluation like council asked for previous year, and we did those evaluations and we were prepared to do merit. We had no part in that decision-making process. I will also say that this isn't losing $64,000. This is compound interest, not simple interest. So the CPI next year isn't an increase on the current rate. It's an increase on this 64, which compounds. It's kind of like an investment. I will also add that even though Florida Rural Water and Diana particularly hasn't looked at it, other people in Florida Rural Water has. Andrew, before he left, and I had many conversations about this. And the presentation in March of 2021 that they did, we did not implement the changes that they recommended. We did less than the changes that they recommended by a large percentage, by over 25%. We also did things like the sewer rate that they encouraged you guys to charge the residents the first 5,000 gallons. We kept that in place, not to charge them for the first 5,000 gallons. There were many other things that we didn't do to increase the rates. When they gave us their study, it did not include capital. So what they proposed had no capital improvement involved in it. So we're still budgeting based on annual needs, and we're not thinking ahead on anything to do with capital, any large investment in water mains, water plants, or anything of that nature.
So what difference does it make to increase a rate?
Because
Hold on.
Yep.
What difference does it make to increase a rate if somebody's bill is extremely high and they come in and they complain about it, and then we take money off of whatever? You're increasing rates, but you're losing money because you're not actually getting the entire amount of money. So why put a strain on the citizens, to increase it when you just increased it?
So the answer to your question is we're a business, we're an enterprise fund. Just like McDonald's, just like Winn-Dixie, they went up a lot more than 2.5%. There's not a service that exists, their insurance, anything else that they have that did not go up more than 2.5%. My point is we're in the same place. It's not that we are escalating costs. It's that our vendors, our person who operates our plant, all of those things have gone up 2.5% or higher. So again, you may be keeping up with annual costs, but we're 10, 15, 20 years down the road, and again, you've lost out on the capital argument. We're only relying on grants. We're only relying on SRF at that point. We are not providing any capital gains for the future. We're doing that through electric, through the rate stabilization. We're proposing that through gas because we're going to bring this year to you guys a rate stabilization for gas with FGU's help. But we don't have that mechanism in water and wastewater. There is no rate stabilization.
But the only difference with that is we have a choice whether or not we go to McDonald's and pay that price. Citizens don't have that choice.
I agree with you, but they don't have a choice in their insurance. They don't have a choice in their phone bills. They don't have a choice in those things. And
But they
all
do,
those things
because then they can go and look for insurance that is cheaper.
across the
They
board.
have
everything,
no choice.
Across the board, there's no company that went up less than 2.5%. We all have insurance. We all know that those rates skyrocketed. My point is simply, you guys have to consider capital. Jonathan's point is it's not 64,000 compounded. It's much more than that. If you take that and you escalate that investment, it's like a 20-year-old investing $20 a month, with the difference of waiting till you were 40 and investing $20 a month. That's what we're talking about. And eventually the adjustment is going to have to be made, just like we just made it this year, because
Agreed.
it hadn't been made in 15 years. So
Agreed.
the question is, when do you want to pay the piper?
But once again, we need to make adjustments all the way around.
Call for the question.
Is there any way that we can, if we defer this CPI increase for 1 year, can we make it mandatory that it's applied the next year so that we don't go further back in the hole, that it's a special exception that's granted for only a
If
short
you do
period
it
of
just
time?
for 1 year, it would go right back.
But there's no guarantee that the next council could say, oh, no, we're not
Well,
doing
yeah,
it again the
yeah,
next year and
yeah.
the next year and the next
Yeah.
year. And so I guess my question is there any way that we can avoid kicking the can down the road, to Jonathan's point?
So not really, because what you have is an ordinance that says that you can amend it by resolution anytime you feel like it. So you can't by resolution go in and mix that part of your ordinance.
Mr. Stingle?
Yes, sir. I think we also have kind of lost track of the fact that we're talking about CPI. The Bureau of Labor Statistics updates their CPI all the time, and it's very possible that the CPI could go down. There's not a guarantee that it will go up. I mean, we've seen record inflation, and that's why the CPI has gone up the way that it has. But just, I think it was 2020, just before the big crash, we actually saw CPI go down, and we had to adjust airport rates to the negative as a result of that. Just because the Bureau of Labor Statistics calculates the level of inflation and then, takes that chance. So it's not like, yes, we may be deferring 64,000 this year, but it's not necessarily that we're going to be going double that next year, right? It could be level across the board. It could go up a very small percentage, and it could go up, another 2%, or it could go down a partial percentage. We just don't know what the CPI is going to do. We can kind of take a measurement of that, but that's what we're looking at tonight is putting the CPI on hold for a year. And I feel like we've kind of lost track of that.
Well, my thing too is, as you referred, we're a business. And working in retail, cost of goods and everything else has gone up. So has our prices.
We raised our rates 12%.
Mr. President.
I just don't want to
Yes.
do it another 2.5%.
Mr. President.
Yes, sir.
Counselor Jones has called the question.
That means I want to vote.
That means
I already talked
the
about it.
person that makes the motion can call the question.
Yes.
And that forces a vote with what you currently know.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. All right. Well, all those entertain.
You want me to restate the motion?
Yep.
Can I restate the motion?
Yep.
All right. The motion as I made it was for approval of Resolution 2024-110, which is to remove the automatic CPI at this time for reconsideration on October 1st of 2025.
Okay, I have a first. I have a second. Any other discussion? Yes, sir.
Counselor Jones, correct me if I'm wrong, but this time you said for reconsideration, and last time you said you are only removing it for this period, and next period it doesn't get considered. It automatically goes in unless that council.
Unless somebody brings it up. That's
Yes.
exactly right.
Okay, so I just want to
For that
make it clear to
clarification,
everybody.
yes.
Reconsideration is not what we're looking at. We're looking at one time
An abatement until October 1st. of
until October 1st, and then you would start it again automatically unless someone
Does this again.
like
Exactly.
another council
Unless
brought
we
it up
do
and fought
this
to
again.
keep it down.
Puts it back on the agenda.
Correct.
So I had a first and a second. No other discussion. Move to vote. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no.
No.
It's 3-2.
It was
Um,
approved 3-2.
Myself?
I did not hear your vote.
Yes. I said no.
We knew you did.
I didn't hear.
Okay, I'm sorry. No, I voted no. Miss Martin voted no. Miss Hines is no. Miss Riccio, I'm sorry,
Hines
Miss
is
Hines was
yes.
yes. Miss Riccio was yes. And Miss Jones was yes.
So, Mr. President,
Yes.
take the liberty here. So, I tell my staff all the time that, there are going to be decisions that I'm going to make that they're not going to like, and they're going to make decisions at times that I'm not going to like. And we have to understand that, accept that, and that makes us good working staff. We get along, we have our discussion, and I'm very proud tonight to see that we can have this kind of discussion in this forum, make a decision, staff can speak their mind, and thank you for allowing that. And we can come to a decision of what we want to do moving forward. And that's all I want to do. I want to thank the staff for their part, and I want to thank y'all for your.
That's why we love the place. All right. H, Resolution 2024-111. A resolution of the City Council of the City of Williston, Florida, approving change order number 3, attached hereto as Exhibit A to FDOT FM number 442505-1 regarding the Williston Municipal Airport Terminal Building Project, authorizing appropriate parties to sign any document required to execute such change order on behalf of the City of Williston and provide an effective date. Mr. Benton Steve.
Yes, sir. So this is change order number 3 for the terminal project. We had a couple of issues that were that came up while we were about to start paving, as well as the floor. We decided we had some money left over in the project, so we decided to change the floor from polished concrete to LVP. So with a lot of those changes came this change order. A lot of the work's already been done, but this is the legalizing process. Also, that gap was filled in with additional rock for the siding.
What's the orange?
So it's showing you
Okay.
the fill-in spot. So that gap existed as drawn by the original plans. That gap existed, and Gray didn't like that, and neither did Passero. So we added the change order to fill that gap in and run it all the way to the ground.
That'll look good.
Yes, sir, it does.
Okay. All right. Anybody have any council have any questions? Mr. Siegel, anybody in the public? All right. I will entertain a motion for approval on resolution 2024-111. All right, I have a first, I have a second. Any other discussion? All right. Move the vote. All in favor say aye. 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 It's 5-0.
Mr. President, who's
Yes,
second? Ooh, okay, thank you.
All right. Aye. Resolution 2024-112. A resolution of the City Council of the City of Williston, Florida, approving the memorandum of understanding between the City of Williston and the Florida Division of Emergency Management, authorizing appropriate parties to sign any documents required to execute such an agreement on behalf of the City of Williston, provide an effective date. Mr. Steve.
Yes, sir. So some of the council members may remember a couple of years back, maybe it was last year, we were a site for a logistical staging area for the Florida Emergency Management. So this is just updating our memorandum of understanding with them, laying out the space that they are allotted in the event of an emergency where our airport is selected to be an LSA once again. And if you guys didn't see pictures from that, it was a pretty impressive site. And those guys cleaned up the area very well, and they were really good stewards of the airport.
Okay.
That's the perpendicular runway.
Yes, ma'am. So they had the southern half of the secondary runway all the way to the grass runway.
The grass strip. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
That's right.
Do you think with the hurricane that's going to hit south of us, that they'll utilize that?
Typically,
for
they
this?
like to go with someone closer.
Okay.
So the reason that we were selected last year is because it came right into Cedar Key. And I think the reason that we weren't selected this past time is because it hit a little north of us, and this memorandum wasn't quite updated yet. So we wanted to make sure that we got that updated for them so we could avoid this, next time. If something comes in and, they're not going to, I don't even know who else has an MOU with them. So there's probably other airports that do the same thing, but they try to select whoever the closest airport is.
Okay. Council have any questions? No? All right. I'll entertain a motion for approval of resolution 2024-112.
I make a motion to approve resolution 2024-112.
All right. Second? Have a second? All right. Any other discussion? Staff? Audience? Okay. All right. If not, move to vote. All in favor say aye. Aye. Okay. It's 5-0.
Mr. President, before you move on, could everyone please make sure you use your mic because it's hard for me to capture if I missed something on the audio and also on YouTube. Thank you.
Move it close.
It's got to be right in front of your face.
All right. J, Resolution 2024-113. A resolution of the City Council of the City of Williston, Florida, authorizing the purchase of one police vehicle and providing an effective date. Police Chief Mike Rolls.
Yes, sir. This is the vehicle that Stephen has incorporated into our budget for us to purchase, the one vehicle. As you remember, other vehicles we've purchased in the past have come directly out of our budget. This year, Stephen was able to put at least one vehicle in our budget to be purchased. The good thing about it is the vehicle we were looking at was a Chevy Tahoe from Brandon, was $55,000. We found one through networking, brand new, same year, same vehicle, for $48,794.
Nice.
Yeah, so savings there. And this is a vehicle, like I said, it's brand new. It was just one that some agencies ordered that they never picked up. So God is always in the midst of everything. So we were able to get our hands on this one, and He's holding it for us if it's approved tonight. So that's what that's about.
Okay.
And the additional dollars is to outfit it.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for Police Chief?
Move approval of resolution 2024-112.
I second.
All right. Got a first, got a second. Any other discussion?
Excuse me, make that 113.
Any other discussion? All right. Those in move to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right. 5-0.
Thank you.
All right. Resolution 2024-114. A resolution of the City Council of the City of Williston approving surplus of certain equipment at the Williston Police Department deemed unneeded by the Police Chief, approving a sealed bid auction for said surplus equipment, authorizing appropriate parties to sign any documents required to effectuate the same on behalf of the City of Williston, and approving an effective date. Police Chief Rolls.
This resolution is for us to sell old police vehicles that we no longer have any use for. I'll give an example. I know many of you have seen the vehicle that our school crossing guard used to drive. It was a donated vehicle from Sumter County. It was falling apart, to be honest with you. But through the purchasing of new vehicles, we were able to get rid of a new vehicle, new to him, but not a new vehicle. And if you go by, you see it. It's a black Dodge Charger that our city manager used to drive. We're getting it striped. It's going to say Williston Auxiliary. I've been trying to talk to him about putting Home of the Red Devils, but he haven't let me get to that point yet. But I may surprise him. Yeah, so we're wanting to surplus his old vehicle and sell it through a sealed bid. And we may have another vehicle that we may be looking at selling, which also helps cut down on our insurance costs. As we get new vehicles, we get rid of the old ones. So we take one off, add one, take one off. So we're asking permission to have a sealed bid to sell those vehicles.
Okay. All right.
Now I will tell you about the sealed bid real quick, if you don't mind. Two of our police vehicles needed transmissions this year at the tune of about $6,000. We fixed one of them through the monies that we received from sealed bids. So it helps us out a lot.
Very good. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Mr. President, one comment?
Yes, sir.
So you've worked out for Stephen, this is going to go back into your general budget for you, the police department,
Correct. Yes. Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay. I will entertain a motion for resolution 2024-114.
I make the motion that we approve resolution 2024-114.
All right. Do I have a second? Second. I have a first. I have a second. Any other discussion? Anybody from the audience? All right. Seeing none, move to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. 5-0.
Thank you again.
All right.
Mr. President, the next item on your agenda is item L, which is ordinance number 2024-736. This is an ordinance of the City of Williston, Florida, amending the City of Williston Code of Ordinances as amended, providing for amending Chapter 18, Article 2, Division 2, Section 18-51 and Section 18-54 regarding powers and duties of the Community Redevelopment Agency and powers and duties of the City Council, providing severability, providing for incorporation in the City Code of Ordinances, and providing an effective date. Mr. President, this is the ordinance that we talked about at, I believe, our last meeting, which sort of fixes a bit of a clerical error in you all's Code of Ordinances and allows us to better delineate the responsibilities between the CRA and the City Council. So I'm happy to answer any additional questions.
And this is a open public hearing.
This is an open public hearing. This is the second reading of this ordinance.
All right. So does anybody have any questions? No? All right. And then we'll just go ahead and vote this. Okay. So I will entertain a motion for the second reading of ordinance 2024-736.
I move approval of second reading of ordinance 2024-736.
Okay. Second. I have a first and a second by Ms. Rico. And, all right. Any other discussion on it? No. All right. Move to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
5-0.
All right, Mr. President, the next item on your agenda is item agenda M, which is a quasi-judicial ordinance number 2024-737. So I'll begin by reading the ordinance and then I'll sort of walk us through the QJ process. This is an ordinance of the City of Williston, Florida, providing for the permanent closing of the unimproved right-of-way just west of Northwest Main Street in Williston, Florida, with a parcel ID of 04800-000-00, an approximate area of 0.053 acres, and a description is in Exhibit A, finding that the closing of the road right-of-way will not adversely affect the public health, safety, or welfare, providing for the repeal of conflicting ordinances, and providing an effective date. Have there been any ex parte communications, which is any communication that is not in a public hearing from any of the council members regarding this item? No. Lots of shaking heads. Okay. If anyone has any evidence that they would like entered into the record, now is the time to present same to the clerk, other than what is already included in the agenda. All right. Anyone who wishes to speak to this item, staff or public, please rise and raise your right hand to be sworn. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you very much. Mr. President, now would be the appropriate time for staff presentation on this item.
Okay.
So last council meeting, you'll remember Steve McMillan gave you a pretty good explanation of what he's asking for. He is the applicant. They bought some property and they realized that some of the property was in the right-of-way. The right-of-way is the old train tracks, and it wouldn't affect the city in any way if we went ahead and vacated that for him, so that his property would make a little bit more sense. I think he discussed his office is in the right-of-way, his chair where he sits. So he just wanted, this is really like a clerical error that we just wanted to fix up. Do you have any questions for me?
Do you have any questions?
All right, Mr. President, I don't see the applicant here, so that would be the next piece. I assume that Ms. Jones does not have any rebuttal to her own testimony. Now would be an appropriate time for public comment.
Okay. Anybody have any questions, comments, concerns, anything regarding this? All right, there's no in public or in council. So I will entertain a motion on the second reading of ordinance 2024-737.
I make a motion to approve second reading of ordinance 2024-7.
Second.
Second.
Have a first, got a second. Any other discussion? All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, 5-0.
All right, Mr. President, the next item on your agenda is item N, which is the second reading of ordinance 2024-738. This is an ordinance of the City of Williston, Florida, amending the City of Williston Land Development Regulations, amending Section 60-295, special exceptions for the zoning category, residential business, to add retail, providing severability, and providing an effective date.
All right, anybody from the council have any questions?
Still looking for what I was looking for before.
So you were asking about the definition of retail?
Right.
And
where it says in the code that we can do it. I know there were more things included in our packet this time than were included last time. And I really didn't see a place that as much as I want them to be able to do it, I don't see anything that allows it. So help me see that so that I can do it. I mean, when I see residential business, it doesn't say anything about retail. It says professional offices. It says home-based businesses. It doesn't say a retail store.
Well, that's the point of this LDR change, is to add retail as one of those special exceptions.
Correct.
Okay.
So you'll see 3.
I thought we were going to see that with the change, with the underlined. I thought that's what you were going to bring, or somebody was going to bring back to us, was the actual change in the code. If it's here, show me where.
Just
I missed it.
page 215. It's very small. It's only a small change, so you may have missed it. But
Right
page
there.
215, it adds retail underlined. And then we did get the definition of retail, which is
But
sell.
215 is not the code, though. That's the resolution.
So 215 is the
the
the way that
ordinance,
the
excuse me.
ordinance works is if you read section 2, section 2 says City Council to amend the text of the Land Development Regulations, I'm paraphrasing, section 60-295, and then you have the following, which is an excerpt from your code, which is generally how ordinances work. So we're
Right.
rewriting
Sure.
that specific section in the ordinance itself, which is how it generally looks. Most of the time, we just have an exhibit that's attached to the end because
So
it's
we've
very,
added
very
retail
long.
to the code,
Correct.
but we still don't have a definition of what's allowable
I think
in
that's
retail.
what Laura was talking about just now.
Okay, so there's 2 definitions of retail. There's a state statute that is a definition. I'll read that to you.
Okay.
It is retail or sale at retail means a sale to a consumer or any person for any purpose other than for resale in the form of tangible personal property or services taxable under this chapter, and includes all such transactions that may be made in lieu of retail sales or sales at retail. That's the lawyer speak.
I'm sorry to say that's talking in circles.
Yeah, the easier speak. So that's what we would go back on if anybody asked for a definition, because that's Florida state statutes. But basically, it's an end user, so you're selling something to an end user. You're not a middleman, and it's usually smaller amounts of goods, not bulk products. So you're not talking about, say, Levy Jones,
store, yeah.
selling big things, buying big things, and being in the middle. So this is smaller goods being sold to an end user.
And just for clarification, the benefit of not having a different definition in your ordinance than what's provided by Florida statute is that what Laura just summarized is what that big long lawyer
Defensible.
speak means to the legal community.
It means it's defensible if we need to defend
Correct.
it. Yeah.
Anything else, Ms. Jones?
No, we're really excited. If we can start to bring some retail downtown, that's basically the purpose of this.
And this also was where if the tenants move out, they would come to him, to Mr. Webb, and say, hey, I want to open a leather shop. he would have to come to us for the approval.
Right. So we have two things you guys sometimes see. We see variances and we see special exceptions. Variances stay with the property, special exceptions stay with the owner. So if we had to say, for example, we were giving somebody a variance because their property is too close to the right of way, it's not in the right setbacks, that can stay in perpetuity until yes, until the property is demolished or replaced. But this is a little, special exceptions are different. They, every time a change is made, they have to come back and get your approval to do it.
Meaning the owner, Mr. Webb, or the particular business?
We always go by the property owner.
Okay, so Mr. Webb can have a different retailer.
Yes, Mr.
Without
Webb could
coming
bring
back.
another application for special exception, but this is not a special exception application. You guys remember that. This is just the LDR change that we can have retail in residential business.
So to just be clear, when you all grant special exceptions, because I think I see where you're going.
I'm reading it. It says it's a special exception.
So, but what I mean is, I think that potentially, I could be wrong, that the concern is that there's property owner who may have several tenants, gets a special exception, and he continues to own it, but multiple different tenants come in as retailers. And when you grant a special exception for a property, it's very specific to what they're using it for. So if, for instance, you were selling podiums for the first tenant, and then you're selling something that's very completely different and isn't in line with the application that exists for that special exception, you need to come back for a special. So special exceptions are very narrowly tailored and are generally very specific to what is applied for.
You know, nothing scares me more than a lawyer who says I could be wrong.
I could be wrong in my mind reading.
Yeah, in reading my mind. That's what she's
Mind
trying to do.
reading, I'm not
She's
not
certainly
as
looking
good
up
at
here.
as I am at the law.
So you're telling me it's not a special exception?
Today, you're not approving a special exception. Today, you're adding retail as a special exception to residential business.
Okay, to the code. Gotcha.
Yes, you will see on the next thing probably a special exception request
For their specific business. Gotcha.
But this is something we've been talking about way before this happened, so
Yeah.
it just kind of fell into line.
Appreciate it.
Okay. Anybody else have any other questions or anything? All right. Then I will entertain a motion on the second reading ordinance of 2024-738.
I make a motion that we approve the second reading of ordinance 2024-738.
A second?
Second.
I have a first, I got a second. Any other discussion from council or anybody in the public? Nope. All right. Then we'll move to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
5-0.
Thank you.
And with that, we are closing the public hearing. All right. Discussion with possible action, changing November 5th council meeting to a later date. Ms. Latricia Wright, City Clerk.
Council Supervisor of Elections Tammy Jones has asked that we cancel our November 5th meeting, which is Election Day, and just move it to a later date due to heavy presence of voters coming in to vote here at City Hall. So I am looking at November the 6th, which is a Wednesday, if that will work for everyone. If not, let me know which date would be best.
I'm good.
Number 6.
Well, at least you're up.
I'm good with the 6th. Just won't go to church, but I can go.
All right.
Adopt me that.
So 6 o'clock?
6 o'clock. Thank you. She really would appreciate that. Thank you. Yes, November the 6th at 6. Thank you. And that's a consensus from everyone, correct?
It
Thank
is.
you.
6 6 p.m.
We're deleting the 5th. Delete that right here. And adding the 6th.
Okay. Well, that one's taken care of. Item 8, public participation. Well, okay. None available. Item 9, announcements. Staff, any announcements? Mr. Police Chief Rolls.
The police department will be applying for the JAG grant, which is a grant that is up to $25,000. The application is due by the 16th of this month. Yeah, this month. So we're in the process of completing that paperwork and getting that turned in, and I will keep you updated on that when that occurs.
So do you need approval to apply? Because we don't have another meeting before then?
Oh, that's
Or
right.
do you need a signature?
I don't need a signature, and I'm just applying to
You don't
see
need a
if we're even eligible for it. So
Perfect.
yeah, I don't think I need a signature at this point. But we're gonna go ahead and complete the application, send it in, and then when we get the feedback, we'll let you know.
Now, is this the one you found?
This
That's
is the
different from the regular?
no, this is the JAG grant that we normally get through the county.
Yeah.
That was missed this year.
It's our turn?
Yes, and
it's
it was
down-
our turn, but they missed it.
Oh.
And it's down to 20?
Down to 25.
Who
That's
did
it,
they give
20
it to?
Nobody. They didn't do it.
Nobody?
They didn't do it. So
Guess it's better to give it to the wrong person.
I got an email back from the county that says the city could apply for it itself. So we're gonna look into that process and get the application done. So we will be independent. I had one other thing. Noble Global is a company that their profession is school zone speed cameras, and the safety in school zones. In our next meeting, I will give Latricia and have a presentation from Noble Global. I actually had them do a speed study here in our school zones really quick just to give you a touch of what they found by doing that speed zone. On Main Street, between the hours of 6:50 and 9 o'clock, there was 11 violations with a maximum speed over 11 miles an hour. The new law for school zone cameras is it has to be 11 miles an hour or over. So we had 11, and this is on Main Street. Between 1:15 and 4 p.m., we had 67 violators that was doing over 11 miles an hour in the school zone.
Holy cow.
9:01 to 1:14 p.m., there were 16 violators for a total of 94 violators between the dates of 9/16 and 9/20. Here's the interesting one. 3/16, between 6:50 and 9 a.m., 697 violators over the speed limit of 11 miles an hour. Between 1:15 and 4 p.m., 1,233 violators above the speed limit of 11 miles an hour. And then between 9:01 and 1:14 p.m., 479 violators, for a total of 2,409 violators.
And where was that at? Which road?
Both school zones. This one, the high numbers was on 316. Okay, so top speed on South Main Street, school zone, 70 miles an hour.
By the elementary school.
Top speed on 316, 93 mile per hour during school zones, during school hours.
During school hours.
So,
I'm sure that was a nice ticket.
if they would have been caught. The good thing about this program is that I don't know if it's good, but any speeding ticket that is in the school zone will be a $100 fine. No points on the person's license, but with everything, there's a revenue source. So, Noble Global has approved for the $100 ticket, $60 goes to the state, $23 go to Noble Global, and $37 come to the city. What that calculates in a year's time is $363,000
If we catch them all.
if they pay all their fines.
If we catch
The camera catches.
The camera
The
catches
camera
it.
would catch them.
This
If we
is
buy these cameras,
this
the
is
camera
for
will catch 'em.
cameras within the city to catch speed violators.
In the school
correct?
zones.
And
School
it-
zones
Yeah,
only.
Noble Global doesn't mean much to me, but
Yeah.
cameras,
School
It gets,
zones.
Pretty
gets
clear.
their tag zone, right? It
Mhm.
gets their tag and it sends them a ticket.
Yes, ma'am. If 70% of the people pay their fine, is which they're guessing, maybe 70% will pay, it'll be $252,000 to the city.
There's 2 cars every year.
I will
So-
remind the
That's more
council.
than 2 cars.
I-
I will remind the council, one of the things that you are focusing with this whole thing was how to stop Williston, because this is why this is happening, from being a pass-through, a drive-through. It's convenient way. You may as well be on 441 because you're not coming to Williston, you're going someplace else, and Williston's just a spot in the road. So that, I believe, Chief, is why a lot of this is happening. It's not that they're intentionally saying, "Oh, I can speed through Williston." It's because we're not considered. They're going from A to B, and we happen to be in the way.
If they're on 316, they're pretty local. They wouldn't know about 316.
Well, 316 is a cut through road.
That's what I
Yes,
mean.
it
They
is.
wouldn't know
I've been
about
on it many times.
They would just go flying down
Yeah.
Noble if they were.
I was on it today.
So my plan is in the next council meeting is to have Noble Global come and do a presentation to you all, just so you can get a better understanding of what their company's all about and what kind of services they provide. But I just want to give you a quick brief of where we're at so far. So, thank you.
Well, I've had a couple of people comment that Williston's getting kind of be like Waldo and stopping people. And I said to them, I said, they pulled somebody over and they had drugs, they had fentanyl, warrants. And I said, so they're catching a lot of these people. And they were like, oh.
Well, suspended driver's license, plus our crashes have decreased since we've done traffic enforcement. But you say that, and the Chiefland police chief told me about a comment that was made because they're looking into this same program, and the comment was made, well, if y'all enforce school zones like Williston, we wouldn't have this problem. But we're enforcing school zones, and we're still having this problem.
Yeah.
So because we can't be there at all times.
Right.
Okay.
So is this a state program?
Yes, the state sets the law on it, how fast you have to be over the speed limit before you can receive a ticket. There's laws and stuff that's set in place for this program, through state laws, and I can get you a copy of it.
That's why they get the most of the money.
Who?
The county gets the most of it, but
Oh, it's
that's
county.
by
I thought you
statute.
No,
said
state.
I thought
Oh,
you
that's
said
what,
state.
that's what I mean, the
Yeah.
state, because it's state statute.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that
So
money's
that's what I meant.
it's divided into different programs that the state have. But yeah,
Surprised to get $37.
right now if we write a ticket, I think we're getting like $3 or $4.
Yeah, they used to get 2. If you're getting 3 or 4, that's better than it used to be.
Yep.
It used to be $2 the rest of it for the state. Or the county, depending on which way
But
it was.
looking at things that you've mentioned to me, Ms. Hines, ways to do business better.
Mr. Mayor?
Mr. President,
Yes, ma'am.
briefly, sorry, we're still on staff. The annual ethics training is coming up December 18th at 4 p.m. Everyone's invited. Your staff's invited. All of the new commissioners are invited, council members rather. For anyone who hasn't done our ethics training before, it is a requirement for you all to have 4 hours of ethics training that you undergo on an annual basis. My office, as part of our contract with you all, as part of our services, puts on that presentation for you all. You come to our office, we feed you generally some pretty good food, and we have a good time, and we try to make ethics not the
Christmas
most.
party.
Will you have wine and beer again this year?
We will.
What date?
Can we all wear an
Yeah,
ugly
right.
Christmas sweater?
Yes.
What was the date
it's
again?
December 18th at 4 p.m. So if you haven't received an invitation, let me know. I will forward that around.
Has it already been sent?
It has.
It
I
has.
have not received that invitation.
I have not received
But you're
that.
probably thinking, I'm so ethical, I don't need it.
It's 100% what I was thinking. I'll send you one. Okay.
I got it and it's on my calendar.
For anyone who can't make it, we will we generally record it and have it available after. We're trying to do a live stream of it as well, but I never make any promises on the live stream. So it will be at least recorded, potentially live streamed.
And I will say the invitation came from somebody different.
Correct. The invitation came from one of our new assistants who's helping us out with the cities,
Yeah, so
Kimberly.
that's probably why.
Probably deleted it.
That's probably why you missed it. It
I
wasn't
will
the normal
resend it
person.
from my own
Okay.
email so that everyone receives it.
And the council president is in my shoes also.
I'm just gonna reset. I'm gonna forward the email from her to all of you again.
Okay. Anything else, Ms. Blue? Mr. Mayor?
You know, I had something I wanted to say, Chief, but I was so shocked that you were going to put cameras in my city that my mind is frozen and I no longer have anything to say except please be safe in this hurricane. It is not a thing to take lightly, and pray for our state and all the people that it affects.
Okay. Item 10.
Excuse me.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. I just want to say to the council, thank you very much for participating in the cancer awareness by wearing your shirt tonight. And before everyone leaves, if we could get a picture so that way I can post it on the Florida League of Cities website. So thank you again. And the next meeting, the next October, 22nd meeting, if you could wear pink again as a support of breast cancer awareness, I would like you all to, if you can. And if you want to wear your shirts again, that's fine.
That was my question. Did you keep them?
Yes.
Cool. Can I make one quick announcement?
You may.
I know everybody's anxious to get out, but I just want to say I attended Chief Roll's training session on protecting places of worship, and it was sobering and very informative, and I highly recommend if he does it again that anybody and everybody go. It was beyond my expectation. I was delighted to be there. Thank you.
Thank you. And that was presented to me by Ms. Jones.
Oh.
She gave me the contact, and I made contact with him. And
Actually attended the same presentation in Ocala and said, man, did we need that in Williston?
It
And he jumped right on
It
it.
was amazing. So thank you.
All right. So we haven't adjourned yet. To staff, I told y'all when I saw you last hurricane, be safe. Don't try to be heroes, because we don't need to put our lives in danger if it gets above and beyond.
When are they coming in? Have you made a decision yet?
Can we get a
Okay.
motion to adjourn?
All right. Item 10, motion. The time is 8:15. Can I get a motion for adjournment?
You can, but I still have a question that you can answer too.
Okay. Well,
I move we adjourn, but I still want to know what time staff's coming in tomorrow.
What time staff go in?
Yeah, do they know?
7:30.
And they're staying at that time?
Yeah.
Is that the plan?
Yeah.
Okay.
I second the motion.
all right.
Thank you.
We have first. We have a second.
Are you saying something?
No, we're trying to close the meeting, but
We need to finish item number 10, please. Can everybody please hold on? We have not finished with our agenda. Please let the president finish.
okay.
Thank you.
We've got a motion. Who did the motion?
You got a second?
Second.
Second motion.
All right. Got a first. Got a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned at 10:16.